Hey everybody, welcome to Good Talk with Rob and Eve and Donnie Vapor. And today, you guys are in for a treat. I have two friends of mine that I haven't seen in a long time, but now we're getting to see each other on Zoom, and they're coming on for this interview. And they are a couple that have an amazing story, I think, that I'd like to share with you guys. And then really, what it comes down to, it's a story of not putting things off, having a dream, and actually realizing it and actualizing it. So many people talk about, I want to start a business, I want to start something, but something gets in the way. And in a second, we're going to talk about their story and how they just went for it and grabbed the proverbial bull by the horns. Wow, now your story in Texas, that's cool. Begins only, I want to say, what, maybe a couple of weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
You just
Yeah.
went there, we were on the phone one day, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Are you leaving soon? You're like, we're like halfway there. Remember we spoke? I'm like, wow, oh my God, middle of the night, halfway there. And what I want to do is introduce what your concept is. You have a coaching business, and how you took it. You have a 1 and a 4-year-old, and you guys just have a brand new place to live, a brand new business that you just really, well, I don't know how new it is, but new to Texas, we could say, right? And here you are, just like uprooting yourselves and starting and not letting things hold you back. Is this something that was your big plan for a while, or did it just happen overnight? Like, let's talk about what you got going on.
It was in the works for a while. I had created this business back in 2014, helping women overcome toxic relationships after my own battle and struggle with the cycle of unhealthy relationships. And I knew I wanted to give back and I wanted to help others. So I created this business, and just with all of my free time, I was a full-time teacher when I started, and all of my free time went to this business. Like, I think that when you have the grit and the passion, it's easier to do those things that you love, even when you're tired, you're exhausted, you get stressed sometimes, but it was always this drive. I always knew there was something more for
Mm.
myself and for others if I worked on this business. So I spent my time working on that, and ended up, we got together. David was interested in the business as well, the business side of it. And so he started kind of doing some things, and then we had our first child, and we kept working on the business. And then we had our second child. I wrote a book, and we've been looking to pay off debt and talking about moving to Texas for a long time, because we wanted to get out of New York and kind of change our scenery a little bit. And we were talking to our friends that live in Texas, and they said, "Hey, why don't you come to Texas now?" And we said, "I don't know, can we do it? Like, can we leave New York and go to Texas?" And we started talking about the cost of living and the difference. And then Dave and I kind of looked at each other. We were like, all right, let's go. So
Whoa!
it was a
Wow!
huge change.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting how everything sort of lined up. And sure, we're taking a big step, uprooting ourselves, leaving behind the foundation that certainly Stefan relied on for many, many years. But for me, anyway, it was encouraging because it was really ultimately a matter of just witnessing how everything was sort of lining up to support us. And like Steph says, when you have a vision and you're driven by passion, you find the energy to go further with it. But not only that, things start to line up to support you when you really start to focus on what you're here to do.
Mm.
And the decision was made quickly, but again, it was facilitated for some time by everything that we were doing. And especially most recently, once our coaching business just really started taking off, particularly so far as it's centered around our hub, which is our Facebook group, it just became abundantly clear that this was meant to be. Everything from, the synchronicities I picked up, and like the address, the actual house number shares numbers with my cell phone,
You're kidding.
and the number 11, which is a synchronistic number with us. We're now finally just getting unpacked and sort of settled in. It's been a couple weeks now, but it's been incredible, and I don't even mind to keep that much.
This is such an intriguing story. I mean, for anybody on the fence wanting to try something, or even if it's not a business, even if it's that new wardrobe I want to buy, or this new diet, or this new program, or this new thing I want to do, and they put it off fear. You guys seem to have taken that fear. I have this. I borrowed an acronym. I don't know who it's from, but I call it false evidence appearing real, and
Mm-hmm.
getting beyond that, and just learning how to get yourself into that uncomfortable zone where everything's created. You kind of step outside yourself and you create. And let's talk about that. You have a business that you can scale and move around anywhere, because it's not a brick and mortar type store. So you really need an internet connection, and I believe you could work anywhere which is
That
so
was the
compelling
dream.
to what I love that. And like you said, Steph, you had a book. Let's talk a little bit about the book. I believe it's Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt. I own the book. I think that's the title. I don't have
Hmm.
it in front of me now, but I did get
Hmm.
it, and I think it's amazing. And
Thank
got it a while ago. And then let's talk about the business you have now with Facebook. And we will be putting links to your Facebook group so people can check out everything. And let's delve into, I have a couple of minutes here, a little bit about what your business is now and how you work together and what you try to do to help people together as a couple.
Sure. Well, and one of the things you said about the fear is that's where we help our clients, is that it growth is where our growth is where fear is. Like, you have to be in that discomfort. You have to push through that fear in order to get to the other side. If I've been too comfortable for too long, I know it's time to change. And that was one of the things, even about getting out of New York. I had been in the same house for 21 years. I had experienced my unhealthy relationships in that house. I experienced a lot of different things in that house. And I was just tired of it. I was tired of looking at the same walls, and I needed to be inspired by something, by a change. And so even though there were moments where it was a bit uncomfortable, like, oh my gosh, we're going to leave here what we know and comfort, again, it's what we teach our clients, because that's where the learning is. So the book is about my journey of overcoming unhealthy relationships. I share, the deep, dark secrets that a lot of people hold on to and that keep them trapped in their unhealthy relationship. And so I share some of those stories, and to really inspire people to realize they don't have to stay stuck. There is a chance for them to change their lives. They just have to make different decisions, because what happens most of the time is that we get into this fear mode and we go back to what's comfortable. And so instead of having growth, we just keep running back to what's comfortable, even though what's comfortable is not actually comfortable. It's just what we know. So, the book is really to help inspire people. And, what we do as coaches, which is really cool, I get to share my experience of overcoming unhealthy relationships. And David has his knowledge with Reiki and Psyche and all these other cool things. So I was doing the business more by myself. And then I brought David on. And then all of a sudden we were seeing these like huge increases in growth with our clients because of that different perspective. So I think the male-female perspective makes us very different than a lot of other coaches. And we come from a really holistic background, which is also something very particular to us.
Let me at least then kind of summarize our approach, right? Because
Okay.
our coaching is very often approached by people looking to improve their relationships, romantic, familial, and so
Friendships.
forth.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is a transformational program. And we take the approach that basically includes 3 pillars of transforming your life. And it's very simple, but essentially it starts with pillar number 1, getting clear on where you're at, right? Some radical self-honesty to be willing to look at where your life is at and what parts of it aren't working,
I
and
like
to
that.
begin to understand that if your life is going to change, you need to take personal responsibility for that. Pillar 2, we found, is not only acknowledging and beginning to step out of your past cycles, but have a clear and compelling vision for how you want your life to be that's going to help guide you and pull you into the future. And then pillar 3, and Psyche is a big part of that, the information and actual tools to get leverage on yourself and close the gap between where you're at and where you want to be. The trouble is most people have gone to therapists for months or years. They've read the self-help books. They've tried everything. And it's really fantastic because some of our most successful clients are people that have tried to get better. They've been to the 12-step groups. They've done all that stuff, but they haven't been able to make the changes. So with our unique approach, not only getting the core curriculum and the coaching program that Steph has worked very hard at developing to help you ask the right questions, get clear on where you're at, to help you begin to form a vision for how great life can actually be, but then taking the high-speed mindset change practices, the energy psychology that I practice, and making the changes you want a reality. It's so powerful, and it's so encouraging to see people who've struggled for years finally make major changes in their lives. One of our clients recently was talking about how she has never felt this excited to wake up in the morning in like 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like,
I really love hearing that. We're going to be
sweet.
putting links up so people can get in touch with you, and you can help people all over the world, since we work
Yeah,
remotely, and you help people actualize. I mean, how cool is
well,
that
we've
to
got a free
actualize?
We've got a free Facebook group, a ton of free content, free live trainings every week. If
Say the
people
name
want
of
to,
the group right now, then I want to ask you one last question if I could. But what's the name of the group?
codependency, healing, and creating healthy relationships. And if you're watching this and feeling, inclined to join us, please do. I mean, we have so much great resources, great information for all of you.
Absolutely.
I can vouch. They're awesome people, and they have great stuff, and they have great intention and big hearts, and definitely worth checking out. My last question, if I could, me just kind of put you on the spot in a weird way. Let's say people stumble upon your guys' work in the future. We're long dead and gone, and what impact would you have liked to have had on the world? If people look back and look at your body of work, what would you like them to learn about you guys?
I think for me, the biggest thing is just the empowerment. I think one of the coolest things that we get to watch is when these, and it's mostly women. We work with men also. Men tend to not ask for help as much. So guys, come and ask for help. It's okay. But with the mostly women that we work with, it's just so beautiful to watch someone who's been scared and disempowered and frustrated and all of those different things, to watch something click and then all of a sudden watch their lives change and suddenly become these really empowered, strong people in all areas of their life, and are now suddenly creating businesses and making more money and really completely like metamorphosized into the person they were really meant to be. And that, to me, is one of the coolest things that we can help people do, that I really hope that we're remembered for. You're way stronger than you realize. You might not feel like you can do and you can make the changes that you're looking to, but you can. And the universe is hoping you do that.
I love that. And with that, thanks for having a good talk with us. We're going to throw to our sponsors right now, and we'll be back with more Good Talk with Robin Eve and Donnie Vapor.
Hi, my name's Phantom.
Hi, I'm Aurora.
And we love nothing more than a good bark with
Robin Eve.
and Donnie Vapor. Squirrel!
Hey everybody, this is Motorcycle Mike, the personal injury lawyer. I've been riding motorcycles my entire adult life. During the course of my 30-year career as a lawyer, I've also represented countless injured motorcyclists. If you're one of them, I can be of assistance to you. Go to my website, please, motorcyclemikeesq.com. I'll always be there for you. I'm on your side when you ride.
Joe DeJesu, our original artist of the week from Good Talk TV show Season 1, has a brand new release available that you want to download on all of your digital media platforms. Another Sacrifice is the highly anticipated follow-up single to Cry and Miss Maybe, released in 2019. Joe is also the host of Jam Acoustic Mondays on Govs Radio. Please follow Joe DeJesu Music on Facebook and Instagram and download Another Sacrifice today.
God knows what we've done. Doesn't matter what we do.
It really is my pleasure to introduce you to our next guest. This is my beautiful niece, Isabella Lazzarino. Welcome to the show, Bella.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. It is so great to have you here. You opened my eyes inadvertently so widely recently, and it sent me on a path that I was not expecting, and I think it's really important to share a story. But before we get to that, tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and what you're about.
I am 18, turning 19 next week. I go to Fordham University. I'm studying international relations, English, and anthropology. So I have a lot in for me for the next 4 years. But I'm working at a retail store in Manhattan part-time. In the meantime, I'm just here for the summer with my parents, taking summer classes.
And I know that you love to travel, you love getting together, doing lots of different group activities and things like that. You are one of those people that is open for anything.
Yes.
Hey, Bella, do you want to go do such and such? Yes, I do.
Unless it involves heights.
Well, that's me too. That's another level of why we get along so well.
Yes, exactly.
Now, with all of those things in mind, you were living in a big city, you were doing school, living your life, and then COVID came. And COVID turned everyone's lives upside down, but yours in an especially unique way. Tell us why.
So I have what's called a minor hearing loss in both ears, which basically means that I have acute hearing that doesn't allow me to hear low tones and low voices. So people who have really, really deep voices, really, really quiet voices, or people who mumble, I can never really understand what they're saying. I found out when I was 8 years old, when we had the mandatory public school testing for eyesight and hearing, and you have the beeping test. You have to click when you hear the beep, and I failed it. So I got my first pair of hearing aids, and they were bright blue and big with rainbow sparkles and all that stuff, and they've definitely changed over the years, but and so I also have a really tough time hearing people talking behind me or people that aren't looking at me directly, basically because I rely on reading lips to hear people. And so, I mean, obviously COVID definitely has altered the way I view my ability to communicate with people very largely. Yeah.
It's something that I didn't really give a thought to because it's not something that I was experiencing myself.
Yeah.
Until I found myself looking at you with you were so interested, you were so engaged in the conversation, and you couldn't hear it. And when it occurred to me, I remembered the moment of taking the mask down and just saying, you can't read anybody's lips. And you're like, nope. And you were so polite about it and reserved about it, like, well, I guess this is the new reality now, and I'm just going to wait until I can contribute how I can and when I can. And it broke my heart. It really did, because you are one of those people that communicates so eloquently, and you have so many important things to say and share with the world. And to think that you were cut off in some way of being able to do that, it really made me sit down and say, okay, what can we do about this? Tell us a little bit about your day-to-day life now. If you want to go run some errands or something, what is that like for you?
So I'm an anxious person in nature, but my anxiety has doubled with everything. Now that you go somewhere and there's the plexiglass screen and then the person behind it is wearing a mask, not only can I not read your lips, but now I can't even hear what you're saying because the plexiglass is drowning out the noise. So things like going to the pharmacy to pick up a prescription, it's like I have to sit in the car before I go in and breathe. Or going to the supermarket, or doing anything that you have to do. These are things that you cannot not do, but for me, they are becoming things that I dread doing. And I used to love doing errands because it was something to do. It got me out of the house, it got me moving. And with COVID, you still want that. You still want to be moving and doing things, because if not, what are you going to be doing? But it's a very anxiety-inducing situation for me. It's become
even something as simple as going to get gas.
Right.
You have to communicate what you need.
Mm-hmm.
So with us talking about all of this, and I'm so grateful for you for sharing your story with us talking about this, we are very pro-mask. We want social distancing. We want people to do the right thing, self-responsibility, take care of themselves, look out for us as a community. And how do we get past this problem? How can we help? How can we help anyone with hearing deficits or issues to be able to read our lips and still protect ourselves at the same time? And so that brought us to our first Good Talk TV show craft project.
Mhm. Love that.
So we're going to be showing photos and just to give you an idea of the stages. And if anyone is looking for any detailed information from me or any questions, there was a lot of trial and error as I was figuring out as I go. But what we decided to do was come up with homemade clear front masks. And what was amazing to me about this was it was made from an old pretzel container. So I did some research about plastic and COVID and things, and it can stay on the surfaces the same way that it can stay on fabric, but it's not going to be absorbed through it. So I started looking around the house for what did I have, and there were takeout containers. There were salad dressing containers. There was a big pretzel container that I'm sure we all had, sanitized, cleaned, cut, shaped. We want to make sure there's no sharp edges on the side. And then it was cut out of the middle and hot glue sealed on both sides. And what happens is now
Amazing.
we can have a conversation in person and
Yes.
she can read my lips.
Even through the screen, I'm reading your lips right now, and it's already so much better. Amazing. You're amazing.
So are you, kid. You inspired all of this. You helped open my eyes to an area of humanity that needed some help. And you were one of them, and you didn't even know it. You were just sitting there being polite, trying to include yourself in the conversation. And when it all occurred to me, I know that there are a lot of viewers out there who would be invested in trying to help with something like this. Now, I did look online, and there are two main companies that do make clear fronted masks for this reason. But because of COVID, this deliveries from both companies were about 6 months out. So if you are inclined, please look around the house, see what you can use. Think outside the box, because you going out into the world with people being able to read your lips while you are still protected could completely change someone's day, life, and experience, and you would have no idea.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, kid. I love you very much.
I love you too.
Thank you for sharing this time with us. Thank you for telling your story. We are behind you 1,000%. I am looking forward to getting some photos from our viewers about some clear front masks that they are making of their own, that they are walking out into the world, and I will make sure that I forward them to you whenever they are received. Thanks for the good talk, and I will see you soon.
Yes.
Good Talk with Robin Eve and Donnie Vapor is now available on Roku TV and Amazon Fire TV. Please subscribe to Strong Island Entertainment Channel on either of those services and catch a replay today. Thank you so much for joining us for a Good Talk. We are live every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook at Strong Island Television. Please like and follow Good Talk TV show on Facebook.
Writing a book is the adventure of a lifetime. Red Penguin Books take pride in giving our authors a publishing experience that is stress-free and celebratory all the way. Some of our authors first approach us with no more than an idea for a book that's ready to sprout. Others submit completed manuscripts. Whether you're at either end or anywhere in between, our goal is to get you published. At Red Penguin Books, we offer options and opportunities that are unique in the world of publishing, and all of them are designed to keep you, the author we so deeply respect, in the driver's seat, unlike other publishing houses. So, if you want to write a book and are looking for a publisher, we've got you covered. Red Penguin Books deal in publishing services, book development, and ghostwriting for digital, print, and audiobook. Call us at 516-448-4993 or visit our website, www.redpenguinbooks.com.
Roger Street Friedman. Welcome to the show, Roger.
Thanks, Robin. Great to be here.
It's really great to have you. Thanks so much for spending this time. I have been a fan of yours for the past couple of years. I was introduced to you when you opened up for a longtime artist friend of mine, Nancy Atlas, at the infamous My Father's Place. And at that time, you were promoting your album, Shoot the Moon, that came out in 2017, and it's just incredible. And now, fast forward 3 years later, you've got a brand new album out called Rise, and it's taken the world by storm. Tell us a little bit about the album and what's going on in your world.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Yeah, I released Rise on April 24th, which is my third full-length album. And that album, a couple of things that stand out for it with me was that I got to work with Larry Campbell on it. He produced it, and
I know that name.
Yeah, he's one of my all-time favorite multi-instrumentalists and guitar players. He toured with Dylan for a long time, and then was Levon Helm's music director up at the Barn in Woodstock for all those with the Midnight Ramble Band and all those incredible musicians up there. And I had gotten introduced to Larry on my first album. The producer of that record hired him to play on 4 songs, and so we kind of hit it off and stayed in touch, sort of infrequently, but here and there said hey. And I went to see him and his wife Teresa Williams play in the Rockaways. I guess it was 2018 at this point, and after the show, went back and said hello, and I said, "Hey, I've got a slew of new material. Would you be interested in producing?" And he said, "I love your music. I'd love to take a listen." So I sent him about 30 just rough acoustic demo tapes, and about 3 months passed, and I figured, okay, that's that. He hated it. In reality, he's just an incredibly busy human. He was producing Kinky Friedman's record and David Bromberg's albums, and touring himself and touring with Hot Tuna. And eventually he did get back to me and said he'd had a chance to listen finally, and would love to work on the project. Thought the material was really compelling. And finally, we all got together with my rhythm section of who you saw at My Father's Place, Matt Schneider, who was playing upright bass at the time.
Yes.
And Jim Toscano, who plays drums, and Larry and I all got together here in the in my studio, which I call the playroom, because on the other side of that wall is the kids' playroom.
That's awesome.
And I'm assuming that as they get older, they'll migrate into this side of the basement for the playing. And we just had this incredible 4 weeks of sort of 4 weeks straight of putting these tunes, Larry really putting his heart and soul into producing this record, and everybody just giving it their all. And I'm really, really, really pleased with the result. I mean, it's I think it's my best work to date. So that's the goal as an artist. You want to keep elevating the bar and
growing, improving.
Yeah, growing, improving, figuring out how to say what you're trying to say with fewer words,
And not always successful.
Right. No, it's a struggle. Songwriting is a real struggle, but very rewarding when you feel like you got to the heart of the matter, right? So
I agree.
I'd been in a band in the city when I was 18. I moved out of my folks' house and got an apartment on Bleecker Street and joined a rock band that was being produced by a guy who had some credentials, and I was actually the bass player, and it was going to be this this big thing. Of course, it wound up not being a big thing, and I left the band after about a year, and here I was in the city not going to school, and a friend of mine called me up and said, "Hey, let's move out to Colorado and go skiing." So I did that, and when I was out there, I bought an classical guitar, and I was studying to audition for music schools and come back to music school, and one thing led to another, and I had all these pieces, and I had applications, and I don't remember why or what the reason was, but I just never applied. I asked my uncle for a job, and I said I need a job for a few months until I figure out what I want to do with my life, and wound up in a whole different career for about 25 years. And right about in 2004, my dad passed away, and in 2005 I got married, and in 2006, 2 weeks before my daughter was born, my mom died suddenly, and it was actually Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, and all of those events sort of conspired to open me up in a way, the depth, from the depths of grief to the heights of joy, and I started writing music. And I went into I wrote a few songs, and we had a babysitter whose husband, we were living in Brooklyn at the time, and her husband had a studio in his attic, and like a little demo studio, and she said, you should go record one or two of these songs. And I went up to his studio, and I was strumming and singing into the mic, and I always say it was like one of those scenes from a movie where the world goes from black and white to color, and all of the love that I had for being in the studio, for writing, for recording, it just flooded over me, really. And I said, oh my God, I forgot. Like I had forgotten a whole big chunk of myself and my soul, really. And I made the decision right then and there. This was probably 2007, 2008. I don't remember exactly, but I made the decision to start moving my life away from what I had been doing and back towards music. And I've just been lucky enough to be able to, that it's the inspiration, and I've let myself be open to the inspiration, and it's just worked out for me that I've been able to spend more and more time writing and recording and touring, and it's been an incredibly rewarding journey and very hard, but fun and incredible too.
We are going to share an original song of yours with our viewers. Can you tell us what song we're going to be listening to?
Yeah, Carry Me is the first single off the album. It's a song about being on the road and missing the family.
Sounds good. Roger, thank you so much for this time. Thank you for sitting down and having a good talk, and for introducing your music to our viewers. Everybody, please check out rogerstreetfriedman.com on all social media and download his music today.
Thanks so much, Robin.
try to understand. I'm a working man, been on my own since I was 18, rooming with the roaches down on Bleecker Street, learning the hard way what it means to bleed. You know, a man just can't change his stripes. I will ride this road for the rest of my life, grinding stones from dawn till dusk, mixing notes and words with piles of dust. One part obsession, one part sacred trust. The autumn wind will always shake the tree, the branch will always long for the flying leaf. The road will lead where the road will lead. I will carry you with me. Will you carry me with you? Carry me. Sometimes I don't know where you are. Telephone wires are a bridge too far, and though you don't have my hand to hold, you know I feel you in every fold of my soul. As long as I'm still breathing, I will not let go. The autumn wind will always shake the tree, the branch will always long for the flying leaf. The road will lead where the road will lead. I will carry you with me. Will you carry me with you? Carry me. Carry me. Baby, that's the price of the dice I roll. These wheels are always rolling, but they will always roll back home. The autumn wind will always shake the tree, the branch will always long for the flying leaf. The road will lead where the road will lead. I will carry you with me. Will you carry me with you? I will carry you with me. Will you carry me?
Thank you, Pulmonary Wellness Foundation, Good Talk TV sponsor. Please visit pulmonarywellness.com to learn more about this incredible organization.
Hi, my name is Sharon Gillette, and I'm the owner of One Stitch at a Time. I've been doing this since I'm 9 years old, but it became full-time when my husband was diagnosed with cancer several years ago. And I never went back to work because I wanted to take care of him. I feel what makes me stand out is that I care. I take a personal interest in your project. I take the time to find your correct fit and treat you like a friend, not just a customer. So whether it's embroidery, making patches, printing shirts, doing alterations and repairs, or bringing your ideas to life, you can call me at 631-428-1245 or visit my website at www.onestitchatatime.co.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Lunch with Lenny. I appreciate you having me back one more time. As New York and everywhere else goes through these phases of COVID, we're eating out more. It's a little confusing, so I thought we'd take a ride down to the beach, eat something dockside and waterside, and have some fun outside, safe. But the rain had other plans, so we're going to have Lunch with Lenny, the rainy day edition. So what else could we do but takeout? So I will be right back, and we will have a little bite. Okay, so we're back. So on the way to the beach, more specifically on the way to Long Beach, New York, here in the west part of Nassau County, we come across many little shacks, little eateries, and most of them would be seafood and other various things. So we have stopped into a place called Peter's Clam Bar in Island Park. It's a town or two away from Long Beach. Very well-known place. It's a landmark. It's where people hang out and people stop in before they go to the beach or on their way home. And I recently found out it's been there for 80 years. I can remember being a teenager, got my first car 80 years ago, and going there. So their marquee dish, of course, is Peter's Clam Bar, clams on the half shell. And that's what we got here. So a little about clams. There's basically three types to eat. There's the little neck, there's the top neck, and there are the cherry stones. They go in size order, little neck being the smallest ones. I chose the top neck. They're the in-between ones. Reason being, the little neck, can barely get them in one of my cavities. The cherry stones lately, clams have made a resurgence, I'm told, on Long Island. So those cherry stones are huge. You need like a vice grip to get them in your mouth. So top neck's right in between. So let's see what we have. And of course, with every kind of different seafood, there's the mix. So let's try it. We have some cocktail sauce. Start with that. A little horseradish for a ting of sharpness. Not really that hot till we add the Tabasco. And that's the trick. So, I mean, Tabasco to taste. I like it hot. I have friends that just dump the whole bottle in. That's good too. Not for me. Spin it around a little. Okay, lemon. Some people do put the lemon into the red cocktail sauce. I don't know why. So we're going to take that and hold it a little so we don't squirt our lemon juice all over. You can try that again. Okay, and lastly for clams, sometimes they're served two ways. They put them on the half shell and then they sort of scoop them out so you can easily eat them. So that's one way. But the real way to eat clams, just throw a little bit of that sauce on there, that's fine, is to really get a taste of the sea, suck them right out. And that's it. I find that if you find the ones that are the pinkest, they tend to be the sweetest. The other ones people think are bad, they're not, but these are just more, a little prettier to the eye. So before I mentioned Peter's as a shack, sort of tongue-in-cheek, because over the years it's evolved into a full-scale restaurant. You know, sit down, white tablecloth, all that. And one of their really nice seafood dishes is what I have here. This is a grilled octopus on top of mixed greens, cherry tomatoes, Bermuda onion, in a lemon aioli sauce, which is like an oily lemon sauce. And the thing about octopus, it really gets a bad rap. You know, like, ew, you know, ooh, who's gonna eat that? But if it's grilled down very nice, it's delicious. So let's just take a little bit, and you see the texture is fine and it just dissolves, melts in your mouth. I love eating on the beach, so let's wrap it up. There isn't one beachside place that doesn't have a hot dog, a good hot dog, and a corn on the cob, especially if you have the kids with you. Peter's is no different, so they run the gamut. They got it, so let's go for it. Hot dog, Gould's mustard, can't beat it, right? And little soubrette onions go on there like yum. Now there was recently from the 4th of July a guy, Coney Island contest, only about 20 miles from Long Beach. He ate something like 75 hot dogs in 10 minutes. I'm not doing that, so. And lastly for tonight, little corn on the cob, little sweetness. I can remember being a kid again, and we all would just take the corn and rifle through it like Woody Woodpecker. You know, and that was a lot of fun. Be flying around, your parents would be yelling at you. But then you get a little older and, you know, you're trying to watch those space in between the teeth and you cheat a little bit. So we can do this and just enjoy our corn. That's it, folks. Thank you very much for tonight. Lunch with Lenny. It's been a blast. Remember, you can reach us at lunchwithleny@gmail.com. We'd love to know where you'd like to see me. I can show up in your backyard, anywhere, because I like to eat. So, once again, thank you very much, Robin, even Donnie Vapor. It's always fantastic to have a good talk with you both on the show.
Today we will be making linguine alfredo. We got my water here boiling so we can put the pasta in and cook it. We've got 2 cups of grated cheese and 2 smashed down garlic. We got heavy whipped cream, 2 cups, and we got 1 cup of butter. So now once you have all your pasta in, you want to ask your phone, Siri, Google for 7 minutes a timer. So hey Google, set timer for 7 minutes.
Okay, 7 minutes. Starting now.
So now you're going to come over here, you're going to grab your butter, and you're gonna pour it into your other pot.
To start making?
To start making the sauce. So you're gonna get all of it out. After you got your butter in here and it seems pretty melted, you wanna come over here, get your heavy whipped cream, and come dump it into the butter.
Slowly.
Slowly, so you don't burn yourself.
Mix it.
And now you wanna mix it. So everything in there melts and mixes together good. So now we're gonna get the cheese and garlic and a whisker, and we're gonna slowly dump it in so we don't burn ourselves. A little at a time and start whisking it. Slowly add more. You just keep on mixing it in until it looks just like liquid. You don't see any?
Until it's thick.
Until it's thick. My dinner's all done. It looks delicious. Bon appetit.
Howdy, this is Jeff Pupa, also known as Bone Blanket, and I always look forward to a good talk with Robin Eve and Donnie Vapor.